Hello everyone, welcome to Programming Pool channel and welcome to Learn JavaScript course. In this video we'll talk about arrays. We'll start with theory part, then we will do some coding examples. But before we dive into the concepts, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you'll not miss any upcoming videos. What are arrays? An array is an ordered collection of data, either primitive or object. Arrays are used to store multiple values under a single variable name. JavaScript arrays is a single variable that is used to store elements of different data type. What that means, when you create an array, you don't have to specify the data type that you are storing. For example, in the element 1 we can store int, and element 2 we can store like a float, in element 3 we can store like string. Element 4 we can keep it empty. JavaScript arrays are zero indexed. That means started from zero. JavaScript arrays are not associative in nature. Again, what we said, when you have first element int, doesn't mean the second one will be int 2. You can put any data type. Okay. Arrays are objects, so properties can be added anytime. Those properties can be any data type. Okay. So from this picture, you can visualize array as a boxes that are sitting all together. So the first box, second box, third box, and this you can imagine them like a position or like space in memory. And the arrays are zero indexed. That means we have index started from zero. Here the first element is index 0. Second element is index 1, and so. Okay, so for this example, we have array length is 9. First index is 0. The last index is 8. Okay, here is another example. We have the first index, which is 0. Array length is 6. The fifth element is number 4 or index 4. All right. Another example that shows you that an array in JavaScript is not homogeneous. That means we have 1, 2 of int. The third one is float, then null, then string, then boolean, then again int or a number. Okay. Creating an array. There are two ways to create an array. First way is creating an array using array literal. Example, let array name, assign it a values. In between the brackets, this is the array indicator. Value number 1, value number 2, separated by comma. You can put any number of values. All right. A second way of creating an array is using a JavaScript new keyword or like the constructor. Let array name, assign it a new array, pass to the brackets 10, and 10 will be like the array length. Or you have another option to add the elements. For example, the first element is Nabil, the second one is 5, and so. Okay. Creating an array using array literal example will be let colors red, yellow, blue. Creating an array using the JavaScript new keyword will be let cars new array of 10, length is 10, then you can assign a values cars index 0, assign it the value of BMW, cars second element, assign it the value of Mazda, cars the third element will be 4, and so. Okay. Accessing array elements. Here is one of the simple way to accessing array elements individually. Let cars equal assign it a value of new array BMW Mazda. This is the two elements in the array. If you want to access individual element, you can put console.log cars, then in the square brackets add the index you want to access. So 0 is the first one, the second one is 1. We usually do loops to iterate through the array, and I will show you in the coding example today, or I will show you when we talk about loops in the next video. Some methods used with the arrays. The first one is not a method, it is a property. So the length returns the number of elements in an array. Concat method joins arrays and returns an array with the joined arrays. Push to add an element to the end of the array and returns the new length of the array. Pop to removes the last element of an array and returns the element. Last index of search the array for an element starting at the end and returns its position. At method returns an indexed element of an array. Index of search the array for an element and returns its position. Continuing with methods used with arrays, map creates a new array with the result of calling a function for each array element, which means it's kind of loop through each element in the array and return a new array. Reverse the order of the elements in an array. The sort method sorts the elements of an array. Find returns the value of the first element in an array that pass a test, which means we will search for a specific element that has a specific criteria, and when we find it, the first element will be returned. Slice selects a part of an array and returns the new array. Splice adds or removes elements from an array. Now we're done from theory. Let's do some coding and do some samples. So I opened Learn JavaScript folder in Visual Studio Code and I created a file called array.js. First, let's start create an array using the first way to do it by creating literal JavaScript. So let cars assign the value of square brackets value 1, which is BMW, comma value 2, which is Mazda, value 3 here. Save it. Let's print it to the console. .log cars. Save it. Node. You can see from the console that we have array BMW, Mazda, and Kia, 3 elements. Okay. I will show you how I will add a number here, which is int. Now I'll add 5.5, which is a float, and I will add null. So they are different data type. Let's print to the console. See, now it's printing without any issues, and it will show you that we have an array using strings, integers, float, and null. So arrays in JavaScript are not homogeneous. You can add any data type. Even you can add an object here. Okay. Let's create an array using the second way, which is a new keyword, or like the constructor way. Let colors assign the value new array, asset a value of 10, which means the array length is 10. Okay, and we can see that if we print to the console, okay, array or colors dot length, okay, on it, you see 10. Okay, whereas if you add 10, then you add red, or you add yellow, then run it, So we can see the length is 3 now. As we see here, we have 3 elements. Okay. Now, if we want to access the array elements individually, we can use the brackets, square brackets, of course, the name of the array, the square brackets, put the index of it. Okay, let's put number 0. As we mentioned, array is 0 index, so 0 is the first element. Let's print it to the console. So 10. Okay, the first element. Let's put number 2, yellow. Now, if we try to put an index that doesn't exist in the array, what will happen, do you think? For the code, undefined. Okay, so in other languages like Java, it will throw an exception called index out of bounds. But in JavaScript, it will not throw an error, but it will just print to the console undefined. Okay, now let's assign a value to a specific element. Colors 0. We'll assign it a value of, say, blue. All right, now let's print to the console 0. So blue, it's overridden. Now let's try to insert in an index that we don't have it in the array. Like for example, we have 0, 1, 2. Right? Let's insert in 10th element. Okay, blue. Let's print it to the console. 10. You see, it is printing still blue. Let's print to the console. What is the length of the array now? Colors dot length. So the length is 11 now. So what happened here, when we inserted in the 10th element, the array dynamically added like 8 elements. All right. Now let's do some methods. I will not implement all methods that we saw in the slides, but I will choose the most important one you should know. And the rest I will put a URL to the documentation so you can look at it yourself. So the first thing you should know is to access the length of the array, which is length property. All right. Let's first start with push method. This method will insert an element at the end of the array. Colors dot push. Let's add green. Now let's print all the array into the console. Colors. Now the push method, it inserted at the end of the array a green. This is because we have empty elements in the array. They don't have any values, so it is printing them like this, empty items. Okay, let's do the second method, which is pop. This method will delete the last element and return it. Let's print it to the console immediately after deleting it. Pop. Okay, just run the code here. The pop method deleted a green and it printed to the console. Let's print after we popped the last element, print the array here. So you can see the difference now. You see, so you can see the difference. You can tell now we don't have green anymore. All right, let's implement at method, at, which will return the element at index specified. Let's print it to the console. Console.log colors at as an index. Let's say 2. Save it, run it. See the index 2, which is uh, yellow. Here is it, 0, 1, 2. This is yellow. We can change it now to put it number 1. The second element, run it again. Now it returns red. Okay, move on to the other method, which is sort. Will sort the array, so the colors dot sort also dot log colors. Let's run it. So the sort method is sorting it ascending by the alphabetical. So B it's blue, R and then Y, 10 because it's a number, 8 is the first element, and so. And they put the empty elements at the end. Okay, now let's use reverse, which will reverse the array colors dot reverse. Now print colors. Here we sorted them, right? Now let's try again. See, when we sorted them, they have been sorted ascending. Now they are reversed, will be descending. Okay? So the last method we will talk about it today is map. It is basically creating a new array with the result of the calling function or the callback function into each element. Let me show you. Now let copy colors, assign the value. Now colors dot map. So the callback function will be arrow function. You don't have to worry about it now because we will talk about it when we do methods. Now return element. Okay, now let's print it to the console. Console.log copy colors, right? Let me show you. Let me type something here so you can tell that it is copy colors array. Now let's run the code. So you can see the copy colors array, which is the empty elements, then yellow, red, blue, 10. And it is the way that we reverse it in the previous methods. Okay. With map method, we came to an end for this video's tutorial. You can practice yourself, create a new array, access elements, push elements, pop elements, try different methods, and practice using arrays because in JavaScript, arrays are very useful. You will use them in all application you will create in the future. So it's good to get familiar with them. In the next video, we will continue learning JavaScript course and we'll talk about loops in JavaScript. Until then, thank you for watching.